Okay, welcome back. I need to just take a quick moment and see where my fuel and rest level are at, whether I should be fueling up and taking a rest before I take the next job, or if I can safely take a job in my current state. So I need a rest stop in eight and a half hours. I should be able to get a job done in the meantime. Well, that would be a cool load to do, but way overweight for the truck I am using. However, this might be an interesting one, and it'll take me over to Spokane, which I haven't been to yet in this game, so that would unlock some things for me. And that is a 6-hour drive, so it is actually going to push my limits a little bit. I feel like it says I'm going the wrong direction, but I don't actually know if I could just, I guess I could have just looped the other way. Oh wait, the job I'm looking for is literally right here. Well, that's very convenient. So we're going to want there. So there are some interesting jobs. They're all actually kind of cool, but this one pays the most, and it also goes to the place I want to go. Uh, so there's a few different trailer styles, but I don't actually see the functional difference between them. Is there a pay difference? Because it's the same thing. It's a wind turbine nacelle. It's the basically the body of a wind turbine. I'm not delivering something different. I imagine the job will be the same price for all of these, but I've also in the past been surprised. I think it's just literally trailer color is different. Yeah, everything seems to pay out the same. Now, is there a trailer visually that I prefer over the others? So there's two trailers, or basically there's a couple trailer options with double axle. Actually, yeah, I think we'll go with, so yeah, basically the neck style is a bit different from one of these to the other. Let's let's go for the smaller one. I'm pretty sure the weight of this would be fine for just a dual rear axle. So let's take that job. And I think the trailer is okay. Trailer is there. All right. It's kind of funny because I don't know what adjustment to make to my mirrors to make them more reliable. Okay. So now we'll try to take this out of here the correct way. We're not going to try to go reverse against the flow of traffic. No train. So we get across that train track and then get out of the yard. I don't know if there's any noise warning when the train is coming on these, so I want to be real careful. I don't know what the stop there was for. I definitely did not do it. Oh, starting too high of a gear. Light definitely kind of turned on us, but it was green when we were approaching the intersection, so I'll take it. Not the worst driving I've ever done, either in game or real life. Is an interesting device. You can see where the blades are supposed to attach to it, but not just a giant body. And that's one of those things a lot of people don't realize how big wind turbines actually are. It's easy to look at them and be like, oh, that's a tiny thing. Like, you know, the blades on that are, you know, maybe like the wingspan of an airplane. It's like, oh no. I mean, I guess, yeah, they would be if you're thinking of really big airplanes, but these are not small little things. Oh, I need to be... I don't think it matters what lane I was in there. This all reconnects. It's just a case of the tunnel splits up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was concerned that would send me off, that was like a turn off, but that is just more of the same tunnel. Let's set the... Oh, I'm doing kind of excessive speeds. Let's drop that down a bit. Doing 65 in a 40 zone is a bit more illegal than we want to be. So I'm not going to be shy about speeding, but I'm not going to speed that much. Definitely think it would be a lot easier to take a drink and keep control of my truck if I had a steering wheel. So with a controller, it is a little bit touchy. Oh, speed limit is increased. We were at a 50 zone, but we're now in a 60. I did not notice that. downshift there because apparently this uphill is taking a lot out of our little bitty truck. I don't actually remember where. I don't know if they tell us where the engine makes peak torque. This is one of those things of if I was driving this truck in real life, I would take a look at the torque and horsepower graph of the engine output, because that really does tell you a lot about where exactly you want to shift and where you want to be. Like with a bit of time driving it, you can just figure that out naturally. Most people who really pay attention to the vehicle and drive sort of in a more serious capacity, whether professionally or just as an enthusiast sort of idea, they do get the idea of where their vehicle makes power. The other person moved over. That is excellent. Oh, that person a thank you. Of course, being passed by a big rig that is probably going to end up going slower than I want to go, but that's the way it is. Hey Michael, how's it going? 88 degrees sounds nice. A little bit warmer than I like it. No, what do we got going on here? Bit of a cluster, but we'll just slow down for this. We are currently on our way to Spokane. From Seattle to Spokane. Still very much in the area of the U.S. where I am the most familiar. I've never driven from Seattle to Spokane though. I'm always headed north or south. Like if I need to go to Seattle, there's no reason for me to go to Spokane first. Yeah, that was a bit of a failure to pay attention. Everyone was coming to a stop. Yeah, air quality 60 seems like a much better deal. Seems a lot better than was it at 300 at some point yesterday? I know it was definitely up into the mid 200s, and that seemed very atrocious. Yeah, 230. I remember it was in that area. I couldn't remember what the peak was, but I remember you mentioned 230 at one point. Yeah, 60 seems pretty good comparatively. Like 60 is still not that great, but 60 is at least pretty tolerable. 60's fine. 60 is not a wanna stay out, want to stay indoors at all costs sort of deal. Yep, breathing is nice. Yeah, like anything getting close to 200, you feel like you want to have a respirator on. You don't want to be breathing the air unfiltered. And that's where so I ride motorcycle a lot, but when the air gets really bad here during a bad forest fire, I actually prefer being in a car simply because the air is getting filtered through the car filter. Ooh, I was on this bridge actually not that long ago. I was on this bridge a month ago. Shep was actually with me, and she made some comment. There was a sign about bridge, and she made a comment about how if there was even a bridge close by, and I'm like, yep, we just barely crossed a bridge. She just hadn't seen the bridge. It was I want to say a 6-hour journey. So it was not super long, but also not short. What am I doing in the left lane? There's no way I'm passing this guy on a uphill. Oh, maybe I am. Slowing down for a car. Only blocking traffic a little bit. Back on over. So I would love a steering wheel setup for this, but I want a steering wheel that has a bunch of extra buttons for things like turn signals and stuff like that. Like I don't want a racing wheel. I want like a truck simulator steering wheel. So after delivering this, I will definitely want to take a break and fuel up the truck. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be frustrating as a truck driver having a lane you just can't go into. But honestly, it is like if I'm driving, like when I'm doing deliveries, I stay out of the left lane. It really doesn't, like, unless there's someone really slow that I need to pass, I stay out of the left lane. There's no reason for me to be in the left lane. It just doesn't. Basically, I block up a bunch of traffic to get ahead like a vehicle, to get past a big rig or a bus or whatever, and it's just not worth it. I don't really make any progress for me, but I block other people while I'm there. Now, between the fact that a lot of people don't care about other people, so if they're driving a big rig, they're just going to do whatever they want because that's best for them. And the fact that they're paid by the mile. The more miles they put down, the more money they're making, so they're always in a rush. When I'm delivering stuff, I'm paid by the hour. I get there when I get there, and we've got a bit of a emergency stop sort of situation. Not actually stop, but massive slowdown. Now let's see if we can get this going fast enough to pass. But right now I'm like blocking traffic badly. Yeah, but like your area of the U.S. is one of those areas that has just so much traffic to move because you got a large population, and that population needs to drive like everywhere. It's like from what I'm aware of like how looking at the like the sort of setup what engineers talk about when they talk about the U.S. Infrastructure needs. Basically, mostly in the Houston area, you're in this weird situation where most people don't work close to where they live. So everyone's got to drive a lot just to get to work and back, much less when you also have to drive to get to the store. You've got a lot of traffic to move, and you just got to have so many lanes of traffic to do it. It's honestly would be one of those things where it'd be kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah, the idea of being on a highway that is essentially 20 lanes wide, even if it's not all 20 lanes just side by side, still just I have a hard time conceptualizing it in my head just because I think what the widest highway I've ever been on was six lanes wide, which to my mind is incredibly wide, but yeah, for some people that's honestly not that wide at all. It's way over speeding again, so we'll just slow it back down. Drive 5 miles per hour over. So are you glad that he's coming back? Have you missed it, or have you enjoyed having things be below room temperature? I honestly, so for me, I actually prefer temperatures in the 60s over temperatures in the 80s. I was gonna say 90s, but I feel like 90s is quite a bit, like that's actually really getting into warm. But basically anywhere in the 70s is just honestly really nice sort of room temperature. But when you 75 used to be my temperature set in my car. So anywhere 70, I'm happy. But I would rather go a little bit cooler than hotter, because it's really easy to just toss on like a long sleeve shirt or a hoodie. Yeah, and that's the thing I see. It's not Denver. Where the heck was it? I was somewhere where it was the same idea, where basically there was express lanes that were split off, so that you basically had the lanes for. Is your exit coming up at relatively soon? Okay, you're going to be out in these outer lanes, or you get farther in where it's like now you're kind of locked into the freeway for quite a while, but you also get to basically flow along with the traffic that's going to be moving at a higher speed, because everyone's in it for a longer distance run, rather than just trying to get over to an exit down the road a little bit. All right, let's get over to the right lane, because our exit is this next one. Slow down a little bit too much, and oh, I still catch the green. Wasn't sure if I would. I don't know if I need to be in the left or right lane, so we'll go right lane for now. Okay, yeah, so my exit, basically my destination comes up on the right side, and I'm even going to make these lights. We're doing good. I hope it's not too hot of a summer. The really hot, oppressive days make it difficult to get out there and do things, and I plan on being outside a lot this summer. course, I just come to a stop and light goes green, and I don't even need it. Like, I just needed to stop so that I could turn right, but if it had gone, yeah, bad driving there. My trailer hooked to the basically the post on the side there for the lights in the intersection. Yeah, we had a bit of a cooler summer as well, but I honestly enjoyed it because I think our summers get a little bit hotter than I would really like. Like, I I don't really want the temperature to go above 30 degrees Celsius, really. I'm really happy when it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to have to back it into that stall there. This isn't going to be easy, but it is absolutely doable. Although I brought this from one train yard to another train yard. You know, the neat thing about train yards is that they have trains that go between the yards. Oh, this would have been such an easy parking if I had just gone in the other way. So it would be just literally pull in just past it because, yeah, there's just a barrier at the end blocking it off. I'm going to stop for a second and just... I might be able to do what I'm trying to do. And that is pull in essentially straight in front of the spot. And then back it in. Well, I feel like I may not have... I might be able to make this, but man, is it going to be... No, I don't think I'm making it the way I wanted to. Of course I'm... I need to use less brake than I'm currently using. No, dang it. My brain is... I'm getting myself messed up on how I'm backing this up. There. Oh, yeah. Used up all my air. I am now locked down. I get the feeling this is going to be a long trend of the game. I guys have to just sit here and build up air pressure before I can release the parking brake. And this is why you need to have a air brake endorsement before you're allowed to drive something with air brake. Just let it sit there, build up pressure for a bit. But I've got the lineup right. I just need to back that straight in which means I just need to be able to release the parking brake. Okay, we're still low on pressures, but we can... Wait, what way is my steering wheel? Okay. Okay, we have parked it. All right, we've made some money. And we have leveled up, we've made progress. So if we actually look at our progress history, we've gone from newbie to enthusiast. And also, let's see, we've made enough money that we can pay off basically one chunk of the loan. We still owe $60,000 from our truck. So going to pay that off before I make new debt. But my plan is absolutely to make new debt here in a pretty quick hurry. Okay, so we need a place to sleep and a place to fuel up. And we may also take this opportunity to basically maintain our truck. I guess I should probably be leaving on the other side of this, but we made our choices. Now, the one thing that I dislike about this is I can't move my head to basically look around blind spots. I can rotate my head, I can look in different directions, but I can't. I basically can't move my head side to side to get a different view to like look past my mirror, make sure nothing's hiding in the egg pillar. That is one thing I would love to be able to do. But outside of having VR that does like head tracking to actually track where your head's moving entirely, I don't think there's a way to really do that. Because even if you had like the perfect screen setup, I still can't change what that screen is showing by moving my head. That was a bit of bad driving, but more typical levels of bad driving. Not hitting anything bad driving. We take our little victories. Definitely one of the things I'm looking forward to when we get bigger, better trucks. Which I shouldn't have pulled in here because now I'm driving through the customer area, which, yeah, I can do with this truck because it's a day cab. It is not a very tall vehicle. It's a glorified pickup truck. So yeah, that's our truck. It's a single rear axle. It's basically a dually pickup truck is what it is. It's a overbuilt dually pickup. You could put a box bed on that. It would actually be, it would look silly, but I've seen it. There are companies that do it. It would absolutely work. Okay, let's do maintenance. So our repair bill is going to cost us $7,000. Did I say 7,000 or 700? Because it was 700, but my brain thinks I said 7,000. Alright, we're going to use this rest area, even though in real life we would not. Actually, let's go over the other. No, that's going to be just a place you can buy. We'll just pull in here and we'll rest. In real life, we'd have to be staying at a hotel or be back at home. But for the sake of the game, we will just rest right here. Because I'm not taking any jobs that require me to rest along the way. If I need to drive for more than a day, then it is out of my current vehicle's capabilities. Excuse me. I do wish that day cabs, but basically you were limited to hotels. You couldn't just sleep anywhere. Let's limit ourselves to jobs that are close by. Oh man, I would love to move this oversized load of huge construction to the Grand Coulee Dam. I think the Grand Coulee Dam is actually a really cool area. However, that is way too heavy for me. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that starting point is Spokane, but also that's a long way to go to get that started. That, on the other hand, looks better. Also, this would require us to go across a ferry. There is a ferry over here that you have to use, and that's a bit of an interesting experience. So I want to actually do that run at some point just because I think it's going to look cool, but not today. I kind of also want to do the car delivery to Yakima just because I find the car carrier is kind of cool, but we'll grab the Knuckle Boom loader instead. And this is probably going to get tossed into some like forestry location. Oh, I nearly just drove into that because I didn't think about the fact that there was something in front of me when I parked. Okay, let's get out onto that road. Guys, it is 1 in the morning. There should be less traffic than this. Spokane is not a city that ever sleeps. Of course, I'm speeding again right away. Which the goal is to speed, not 15 over. I'm not actually sure. I do feel like the game does a good job of having other vehicles actually react to signaling. Like they will pull out in front of you if you're signaling to go in. Basically, if they're waiting to make a right-hand turn and you're not signaling, they're not very likely to turn out in front of you. If you are signaling, they are much more likely to. And if you signal, they will open up spots for you. Okay, so the knuckle boom loader is the thing that we're interested in. It's going to be a big payday. It's a long drive. It is a 8-hour drive and 388 miles, but it is also a $19,000 payday for completing the job. Yeah, right there it is. Let's head on over. Kind of over-rotated a bit here. That's one of those things, just sticking your head out and backing up is really easy with a day cab. And you even like look at the rear mirror, right, or the rear window right behind you, and this actually works out real well. Once you get into a sleeper, it becomes a lot less, it becomes much more difficult to just do that. We're going to take this light here and actually take a closer look at what it is that we're hauling. It's a knuckle boom loader. I don't know what this would be used to load. It's just got like a body. I assume the body can pivot, but it looks like it's something that would be held in place. Yeah, I don't know what a knuckle boom loader really essentially would get used for. This is not equipment that I am familiar with. Also realized like there's a chance it might be going to like forestry or something like that. And I sure hope the roads aren't bad towards that if that's the case. Because I only have, like, I do not have locking diffs or any of the cool stuff that make it more capable in dirt roads. Okay, this lane is clear. Just gonna go across. Wait. I'm just going, I thought this, I did not see that the setup was. I just went across the highway. I did not mean to go across the highway, but that's all I've done is I've gone into another parking lot. I thought that was just a really wide median for some reason. Okay, and we're basically going to sit here and wait for our turn to turn left. Other direction is going red, and we go green. shifted just a little bit farther than I should have. And speeding perhaps a little bit more than I need to. So next rest stop, oh, and we've got a red light. Oh, your coworker got wrote up? Now, was it a fair write-up, or was it one of those BS write-ups that bosses sometimes like to give? I am in the left lane, but that is not where I want to be. But it is too late for me to move over. So we're just gonna hope this goes well. Just gonna leave that signal light on. As in, ran into like a person on foot, like just a pedestrian, a customer, or a coworker, or someone in other equipment. All of them are bad. Running into someone with a forklift is a bad day. And also, hopefully they're okay. Imagine if you got rode up and not straight up fired. They're probably not too bad off. Yeah, it's one of those things with the equipment. You gotta be very aware of your surroundings. It's one of those things when you're in heavier equipment, it doesn't even have to be really heavy equipment, but just anything that's like forklift size, or sometimes even things that are a bit smaller than forklifts. Like some of those stand-on pallet jack, like that. Other people can do dumb things that really make it their fault if they get hurt. Sorry, car, but we're moving over. They can do dumb things that really would make it their fault if they got hit, but it's still your responsibility. And it's kind of a crappy deal, but it is a case of, as a person operating the equipment, all the responsibility gets put on you, and it sucks, but also at the same time, it's how you keep people safe. Basically, there's times where I agree that the rules screw over the wrong person, but it's also important to have the rules put the responsibility into the hands of the person who can do most to stop it. It's like whenever I help someone learn how to ride a motorcycle, the thing that I drive home most is don't care about right of way. Like, ignore right of way. Right of way doesn't matter. It is, what do you do that keeps you safe? Because you cannot count on other people doing it. When you got an equipment operator, you can sit there and put all the responsibility on that one person and go, yep, it's your responsibility to keep these people safe. It's currently 2 a.m. We're probably going to deliver this load a little bit after sunrise. I think we started it at around 1 a.m. and it's an 8-hour drive total. Which also means this is basically going to be my entire workday for this run. I'm not going to take another job. I'm going to basically rest and fuel up before I take another job. I'm going to pull past this guy. It's one of those where I probably should just stay behind him because there is traffic there behind me, but they're far enough back. I think I can do it without clogging up traffic too bad. I'm managing to speed a fair bit. Basically, I'm maintaining my 5 over. Okay, everyone's pulling up for Kenwick. I think this is Kenwick that followed us for. Okay, so you can't operate the forklift for the next 3 months? Yeah, I always have mixed feels about that, where you basically are like, well, you can't operate a forklift for the next 3 months for basically operating whatever piece of equipment until X amount of time. And it's like, well, all it means is that when they get back on it, they're going to be less familiar with it because they haven't been able to use it for 3 months. So unless you're making them take additional training in the meantime, or additional training to be able to get back onto it, you're not necessarily making the situation safer. You're just delaying it by 3 months. And that's the case of like, I hate the idea where it's like, oh, we're doing this to punish the person. It's like, no, don't think about how do we punish the person who did the thing. How do you basically make it safer? How do you reward being a better operator? How do you train people so they're capable of being better operators? That should always be the focus. How do we get people to do better? Not punish people for having done it badly. Alright, we're gonna pull out to pass this guy. The roads are really nice and level here, so it is easy to just kind of maintain a speed. I was checking the chat and nearly drifted off into him. I'm just going to hesitate for a moment to pull out because people seem to be turning into that pull out for some reason. Not sure why. I mean, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. There's a lot of traffic for 3 in the morning. This does seem a little excessive. Yeah, and that's the entire thing, is if you have an accident on the forklift, I think one of the things that should be done is you basically need to go through some relearning on forklift operation. It's the same way I agree with the idea that I know our local laws, if you get caught with traffic, basically, if you've done something wrong in traffic, one of the ways you can reduce the fine is by going to basically a driving school of some variety, going for additional education. Passing trucks here, but I think this may have been a poor choice because I'm not maintaining a decent speed anymore because I couldn't pull out until the car was passed, so I dropped down to about 40 miles per hour and a 60. So there's going to be a stack of cars behind me that are going to be angry with me by the time I get out. Oh, and now I'm speeding like crazy. Well, either way, hopefully your coworker has learned a lesson of be more careful and isn't going to need additional write-ups because he's not going to be hitting anyone. Because hitting people with forklifts, it's a bad deal. It's very easy for someone to get killed working around forklifts if forklift operators are not attentive enough. And yeah, it sucks to be in the position of the person who killed someone else in a workplace accident. Yeah, and that's the thing. Of hopefully the coworker who got hit isn't going to suffer any long-term issues from this, and hopefully the guy who hit him has kind of, taken this as a learning moment and is going to do better in the future. So at the end of the day, we just want people. We want people to be safe and be able to just do their job easily. That was a bit of a random aggressive turn in. I feel like the merging lanes in this game just are not quite as long as they should be. And depending on the state, that's not necessarily unrealistic. But there are also some places where I'm like, I know the merge lanes here are good, and in game they are not. Sky's just barely starting to lighten up. Which I guess this game is stuck in perpetual summer. I don't think this game has snow. Oh. What is going on here? So I can't take that lane out. Let's just pull over for a second and make a plan. Okay, if I can't, okay, yeah, that'll be fine. I can just turn around there and head. I can make a detour plan, this is fine. I find the one thing I find annoying about the detours in this game is that in real life, there's usually like trucks can suddenly go on a road that they normally wouldn't be allowed to go on just to make the detour work for them, so they're not basically stuck traveling over to the city. In this game, often those roads just simply aren't modeled, so you just can't do it. It's a case of you sometimes have many hours of detour just to basically get around something that should have probably been cleared in an hour or less. Like in a lot of cases, you should be able to just wait, and it should just clear itself. Yeah, so we've got our sunrise at 5:14, which seems a little early for me, but whatever. Gonna go left lane. I probably shouldn't just because I'm a truck. But also I can pass the other truck, so yeah, that worked out. Just kind of cruise through Yakima. And so now that truck's doing exactly to me what I did to him, which is passing me because he didn't have to slow down as much for the light. All right. So I think this is the last light before we basically turn off right as once we get over to the highway. No, it's not. Roll forward. Wasting air to reapply the brakes there. Ah, crap. I need to be in that lane here. Thought I could be in the right lane there, but I could not. I needed to go left and then right. Alright. So all of that was just to get around the detour, which is still ongoing. Alright, let's get out around this truck. There's a lot of hay bales. That truck is probably actually very heavily loaded. Much more heavily loaded than we are. So it's basically the same truck as us, but it's got the full sleeper cab. Probably got a much bigger engine. Can pull more weight than us. But since we're lightly loaded, we can get past them. Oh, red light. This is terrible. Yep, there he comes rolling past us because we had to stop because I did not see ahead to the red light and do that gracefully. Didn't roll up to it. Which, yeah, depending on exactly what you can get written up for the forklift, that does make sense. If you have had 3 safety issues with the forklift where people have been put in danger because of your operation of the forklift, basically saying, yep, don't bother coming back is probably the fair way to do that. Because there's been times where someone gets badly hurt and you look and the person who's responsible has like a known history of making mistakes like that. And you sit there and it's like, well, this person's never really going to be able to do their job properly again. And you knew that this had to happen sooner or later. Like it was inevitable because this person kept having safety violations. why did you just let them keep doing it? But somehow just the way it is. The boss doesn't really want to make the final, nope, sorry, you're fired, or you can't do that job anymore. And they get away with it until someone either gets badly hurt or worse, gets killed. And that's why a lot of the safety laws get written the way they do, is because it puts some of the accountability on the managers so that they'll actually do what they have to do, actually take responsibility. Oh, I did not realize this road had a tunnel. Just like carved into the rock like this. This is kind of neat. I like this. I now want to know more about this road between Yakima and Longview. Yeah, this is not a road I've ever had a reason to drive. Although at some point I may very well, because going to Astoria or there's a few other little like things down over here, like either going to, because if I was going to Washington or Vancouver, Washington, which is a place that I could go for events, I'd be coming down to Omak, down to Wenatchee, over to Yakima, and then over to Vancouver. So this is definitely a road I could at some point drive in real life, but I have not done so yet. I mean, yep, we are farther north, so by that virtue alone, we would have cooler summers than you. But there are a lot of people who underestimate how hot our summers can actually get. I'm just going to pause for a moment. Yeah, okay, so our highest temperature last summer was 44.2 degrees Celsius, which is 112? 110, like it's over 110. So definitely not in the same, not in the same sort of deal, but because let's see, what is the apparently the highest recorded temperature in Dallas is 113 Fahrenheit, and 44 degrees is 111. So last summer we got within 2 degrees of the record of Dallas. So the sort of the peak temperature we reach is actually very warm. It, however, doesn't stay. Like that's we never we're never in the situation where we are at 110 for months. We the way I basically always say it is if you live in BC, if you like, or if you live in the Okanagan, be ready for 2 weeks of really hot, 2 weeks of really cold, and everything else is really mild. Basically, like dead of summer, usually we'll get the spike for like 2 weeks where it will go to low 40s, and during the summer or during the winter, we will get this spike where And our colds are honestly, our colds are not cold by Canadian standards. Growing up in Manitoba, -40 was a common occurrence. Out here, -25 is sort of our holy crap, it is cold. -30 is the, yeah, it's probably not going to get colder than this. Yeah, when it is 40, like 42, 43 degrees here, um, I just don't want to go outside anymore. It gets too hot because it's one of the things I love riding a motorcycle. What happens at about 40 degrees Celsius is that the air. So the reason why if you if you are driving or basically let's say you're standing still outside and there's no wind, um, and then you move, the air feels cooler while it's moving, or a gentle breeze comes over and the breeze makes it feel cooler. What happens there is that if there's no air movement, you're warming up the air around you to the same temperature as you. So when that air that you just warmed up gets taken away, it's cooler. So a breeze or you running makes the air feel cooler. On a motorcycle, this means the faster you go, the cooler it feels. But the hotter it gets, the less and less that happens. And in the high 30s, and by the time you get to 40s, the air is hotter, so you are actually cooling the air around you off. You're not heating it up anymore because you are now cooler than the air. So you moving now actually makes the heat hotter. Like the wind now feels like it is hot wind, and it was cooler before the wind hits you because it's taking away the little layer of cool air that you are building up. So at that point, I don't want to ride a motorcycle anymore. It's too damn hot. There's things you can do to survive it. It's mostly to make sure that basically make sure that you've got like clothing close to you that when it gets wet is going to kind of keep that moisture. It's not going to immediately dry. Like it's why in the middle of summer, I will wear a relatively thick leather jacket while riding. It's a white leather jacket, so it doesn't attract the heat of the sun, which helps a lot. But the reason is because that leather jacket is actually cooler than if I was wearing a t-shirt. So I've actually done the experiment and I stayed cooler in the leather jacket than the t-shirt. And the reason why is because the t-shirt couldn't keep basically when I sweat out into the t-shirt, it was immediately like the moisture was immediately torn away and I was kept dry. Because I was kept dry, whoa, I slammed on the brakes there. That was unexpected and not appreciated. But yeah, basically if you are if you're trying to stay cool, you want that sort of dampness to evaporate slowly from around you because that evaporation takes away a lot of the heat energy. And when it takes away that heat energy, that basically allows your body temperature to stay lower. So are our summers cooler than yours? Absolutely. When we basically hit our peak though, it's pretty close to the same thing that you're gonna probably get for your summers for the peak. Or at least basically last summer, our highest temperature of the year was within 2 degrees Fahrenheit of the highest temperature that Dallas has recorded. But ours are also a dry heat, so that does change things a bit. so we've arrived at Longview. So we've got to be getting close to Astoria. So this is probably, I would actually probably fail a driving test for this. I can't see the crosswalk over the nose of the big rig. So it'd be possible for someone to sort of disappear in front of my truck and for me to not notice. And that is dangerous. Me moving over to the right lane is probably kind of useless. I'm pretty sure this merges down to one shortly, but we'll let the cars get past me on the left. It is safer for them to be past me on the left than on the right. So I feel like the next time Juan or Jeff is commenting on my video, I'm going to have to ask them about the shift times of the trucks. It just feels like the shifts take a little bit longer than they should. Not by a ton, but just seems like I feel like an experienced truck driver probably shifts faster. Like I know that there are people who can certainly shift trucks really quickly. So I know for a fact that it's possible to shift a big rig faster than this, but to my mind, after just being experienced truck driver, you just would naturally go faster than this. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe unless you're really making a goal of quick shifting, this is how long people would take to do their shifting. So why does it go right angle at the intersection rather than through this? The GPS just does not seem like it has taken the most efficient option here. Alright, so all this merges down to one. And there's been a fender bender. I managed to sort it out and to get out of the way of traffic, I would assume. One of you people are going to have to... Oh, we're getting another fender bender because the game can't zipper merge well. So that's the way it should go, is 1 and 1 and 1. Zipper merging is... I feel like zipper merging must be undertaught because this is actually a thing people struggle with in real life. Like that right there. That should not happen. This is an absolute disaster. More of a disaster than what you see in real life, but also I can't say it's entirely unrealistic either. But Big Rig, you are going to leave space for me because I'm going to take it. Nope, I hit the wiper button, not the signal button. This is where I'd love to have a steering wheel with all the correct controls set up so I could just... Oh, that tree just went falling. We are going to a lumber yard, but it's not very far off-road. So the fact that we don't really have the right truck for this probably isn't going to be too bad. So my guess of a knuckle boom. So I guess these right here are probably knuckle booms. Like that right there, I think. Let's stop and take a look. Yeah, I'd say that's a similar type of device. Now, I don't know if this thing not having a body, or wait a minute, is this trailer actually part of the knuckle boom? Yeah, it's got the, all right, so this is probably just put down wherever they need it, and then it works away at it. Okay, interesting. All right, so where are we going? Let's drive closer and then we'll do the third person view to try to make our plan. Okay, so we're just backing it into there. This shouldn't be terrible. Like, I might manage to botch this up because I'm terrible at this, but it's not a difficult, in theory it is an easy, basically you could just pull, if I'd done this better, I could have pulled a little bit more straight, and then this would be a very easy back this up. But I guess I can probably get away with just doing it this way. Definitely doing this very slowly. This sort of easy backup, I think most truck drivers would just be able to pull into the spot, back it up, and... Oh, I'm turning the wrong way for this. Corrected that too late. But you know, it's letting us drop cargo right there. We'll drop. All right, so that should be a pretty big payday for us. Yeah, $19,000. Which lets us go to the bank, and we owe $50,000 on our... Yeah, 15. So we haven't actually paid any interest so far, I think, because we've been continuously paying off our loans a bit aggressively. Yeah, we owe $40,000 still. So 2 more jobs like that, and we would be out of debt. Of course, the first thing I'm going to do when I get out of debt is make more debt by buying a new truck. Okay, well, first things first, let's go find the nearest rest stop and gas station, because that was a bit of a long run. Looks like this might be our best option. Oh, that was a bad zoom out, because there's, or maybe that. I think we'll take that just because, well, I think this is shorter. This takes us to a new area that we have not been to before, and I like that idea. I'm driving here way faster than I should. It's really bumping me around. I mean, I guess the bumping just is as strong as it is. It doesn't get weaker. You drive slower. And we're not losing any traction or anything, so it is fine. Now, turning right to Portland would definitely be easier because I don't have to basically get across a lane of traffic. Well, I guess that was all the traffic though, so this is actually a very nice, easy, clean way to go. Yeah, we're right along the edge of the Columbian River. So there is just riverfront, and it is a relatively wide river. Like, there are definitely a lot of rivers wider than it. Like the Red River, I'm pretty sure is wider than the Columbian River, but the Columbian River is still quite a wide river. Caught that red. So that is an interesting dump trailer right next to me, because it can basically dump there sideways. But I'm actually not sure how it actuates that arm to tip sideways. I can see hydraulics, I can see the hydraulic ramp up and down. And I see it go, like the side arm goes through a box, but I'm not sure how that activates. I was always curious about how exactly machines operated beforehand, but now that I work on equipment, whenever I see something that I don't know how it works, it's my brain immediately goes into the part of trying to figure out what is going on. All right, well, this is our fuel station. Pretty sure we're basically pulled up to the wrong side of this, but whatever. I'm looking forward to having a truck with bigger fuel tanks. that's the faster I'm going, the less sensitive the steering wheel is. And this is really, like, it's required because I'm using a controller, otherwise the vehicle would be uncontrollable at higher speeds. But it does also mean that I basically need to be driving slow in order to have really responsive steering. If I need to make a sharp turn, I have to be driving slow because otherwise the steering is really non-responsive. And this is where I would love to have a good steering wheel setup for this game. I discovered a new viewpoint. Maybe I'll take a moment to take a look at that viewpoint in a little bit. No, there's actually there's a viewpoint right here at the hotel. And see, this is the sort of place where it would make sense for a day cab to actually be able to stop for the night. Although, mind you, I'd be checking in at 11 a.m. All right, let's check out the viewpoint. Astoria Migler Bridge. Is that a train bridge or is that actually a vehicle bridge? I would guess it's a train bridge. Yeah, it looks like a train bridge to me, but it might not be. It might be a vehicle bridge. Oh, does it have a raised section? Like, can it get higher than that in the middle there? Looks like there's extra supports there. Oh no, this is a vehicle bridge. Okay. Definitely the graphics of this game are not bad by any means, but I would love to see this game with better graphics for exactly this sort of viewpoints. But I'm actually going to take a quick break. But while I am here, I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to basically run that again, but I will be right back. Okay, I am back. Oh, I did not mean to start the cutscene again, so let's just cancel that. Let's get over to the hotel and we will sleep for the night. Definitely should not actually be parking in the big rig parking with me just bobtailing it. But there, it's just barely, it's like the sun is just barely setting, and it's gonna be me. Actually, let's just go through the rest again. We'll take a day off here, or take a night off, and we'll set back to the morning. All right. So we could do a vehicle delivery, but I think I'm gonna go with the forklift delivery because neither's going to a place that I really have strong feelings about. Oh, though taking a bulldozer up to Bellingham would actually be kind of interesting. And it's within my weight capabilities. Yeah, I think we'll do this. We'll do the bulldozers up to Bellingham. There'll be new sections of road that I haven't thoroughly explored yet. Because right now I've kind of gone through all of South Washington, but that's about it. And I've done like one little quick detour out into Oregon, but everything else has kind of just been in Washington. There's so much of the map that I haven't touched at all. Like I've still only been in 2 states, and we have how many states do we actually have unlocked? Because the original 3 would be California. I guess the original would be California, and then they added Nevada and brain work with me, Arizona. Then they added Oregon, Washington. Then it was Utah, Idaho, and then we went New Mexico, Colorado. Uh, it's not Montana. I, for the life of me, cannot remember what is that state? What is north, or basically, because that's north of that, that's Montana. What is south of Montana? It's because yeah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. Wyoming south of Montana, isn't it? We're gonna go with that. So that's 12 states out of 50. I suppose that's pretty good, all things considered. It's definitely a big chunk of the. Oh no, nope, did not mean to rest. Let's look back at the job market because the job that I was going to go with might no longer exist. Indeed, it does not. Well, we could do that, but that feels like that might be like I like the fact that it takes me to like it's still only Oregon, but it takes me to new areas of Oregon. Okay, just double check. Okay, that just goes up to Seattle. A little jump down. Also over the weight that I want to be carrying. Now, I should be able to manage. I should be able to probably take a different configuration of this. That will be a little bit more in weight. 47,000 pounds is not terrible. I won't pick up anything over 50,000 pounds with the vehicle I've got. Let's take a quick look at external contracts. Oh, we have not ever actually connected this profile to World of Trucks. We will do that another time. Okay, well, we've got our destination. Let's get to it. And I think we made our first ever bank payment. Which means on the upside, we don't need to pay $10,000 on any of those anymore. On the downside is every time we make one of those payments, we're paying more than what we got out of it. It was absolutely worth it to be able to own our own truck. But I feel like I just have a dislike of making debt needlessly. In this case, it was entirely worth it. It was good to do, but I am debt adverse. Probably don't need to speed as much as I am, especially considering that the bridge is closed right here. I kind of wish I was the front vehicle on this. I'd like to see exactly what's going on, because there was a boat going underneath. But I don't know if any of this is moving. I guess I could. Oh yeah, so that you can see the road is just barely dropping back into place. Let's return to view. So right over here, the road can basically lift up out of the way so that boats can go underneath when needed. Now, one thing I'd love to see in this game is for you to, like, as a trucking company, have more contracts that are less of a move this load one time and more of a we need this load basically moved X number of times. Like, basically, this run we need to happen like 10 times. I like understand why they don't. This gives you more freedom to just do something cool and new each time. But it would definitely be more realistic to have to sort of deal with sort of repetitive loads, especially with like a day cab where it's a case of what you really want is a two-way loop. Like basically, you deliver something in one direction and then you take it in the other. All right, so Oh man, I love the idea of taking this to Triple, but that's going to be way overweight, isn't it? Yeah, 65,000 pounds. All right, so what is this as a single trailer? 31,000 pounds, which is, let's see if this trailer configuration, 39,000 pounds. That might be the one to go for. The more realistic weight of what I could actually be hauling. Because yeah, that's also 62,000 pounds, and this version of it is 47,000 pounds. I mean, 47,000 pounds isn't that bad. We'll go with it. It's going to be a bit heavy. This truck might not be able to actually haul that legally. Like physically, I'm sure it'd be possible. Not necessarily enjoyable, but possible. We're just going to do a long reverse to this. I guess in what state will I drive to next, or what state am I going to buy next to add? Because that is currently, I don't know what state I'm actually going to do next, just depends on where loads come in, but there's a very good chance that it's probably going to be like Las Vegas or Idaho. I'm not going to make any point, I'm not going to try to hit California. California is not a great place to be driving. I would prefer to go east rather than just south. Southeast would be great. Like honestly, I like Colorado. I'd love to go through Colorado, but we'll see where the loads take me because I'm just kind of where I'm always looking for a load that like I don't want to drive down to Denver and take a job because that's a long way to go not getting paid. So yeah, we'll see where the world takes me. Okay, so this is going to be another, just like basically this delivery is going to be my only delivery of the day because it's going to take 7 hours. And technically you can work almost twice that long, but basically counting it as having to drive home between sort of time. Basically, if we had a sleeper, we just hop on to the next job and maybe take a break halfway through that next job. It'd be fine. We're kind of racing against that truck, but we should make it. Yep. Sorry, Texas time, what time do you do store cheating? I'm not sure what you tried to say there. Oh, tonight I do sort instruction at 6:30, so 8:30 Texas time. But basically I'll have to take time to have supper and prep before that. So I'm going to try to live stream for about another hour. So someone doesn't know how to take a roundabout. Not sure who was at fault there, but it seemed like that did not go well. But yeah, that's right now I teach swords on Mondays and Tuesdays. If everything goes well this summer, I will probably, that will expand and I will end up teaching more, possibly on weekends and on more evenings. And I already don't have time on evenings, but so basically you had to play translator. Yeah, that's my mom mostly does not speak English. That was I also because I am also ESL. English was not my first language. Oh, I am way too low or way too high of a gear. Sorted it out. That's kind of interesting load for that guy. One of those rollers. I think that's maybe that's a street sweeper. Not sure. Not sure if that's one of the like pavement rollers or no, I think it's a pavement roller. But yeah, so often when I'm basically chatting and both my wife and my mom are in the room, I basically sit there and sort of translate back and forth. Or more so, my mom understands. Oh, we're running that red light. That's what we're doing. It's too late. We'll be in the intersection anyway. Safer to just go through. And that's a short yellow. I feel like maybe that was not entirely my fault. Still would be me getting ticketed, but still. Don't feel 100% responsible. The kids got upset at the fact that you had to do the translating, or that she didn't speak English. They're upset that she doesn't know English. That's one thing I've noticed in North America, both the U.S. and Canada. People get this idea that basically everyone should know English, and it's like there's a lot of languages in the world. Most of the world, knowing more than one language is just normal. It's U.S. and Canada where it's just so predominant, like such a big area that's all English that we don't realize that that's just most of the world is like, no, you learn multiple languages. It's just the way it goes. Get over to that right lane. No reason to hog the left lane. There's nothing going on. That's one thing I find interesting is, so it's actually good for the mental, like basically kids that learn multiple languages early on kind of have a step ahead. Basically being able to flick your brain between different languages. So there are some people who have actually proposed the theory that the language you speak to yourself in your head, like the language that you think in, decides how you problem solve. It basically gives you the tools that you use when trying to figure out things yourself. And so for a lot of people, they perceive the world differently because of the language they speak to themselves in their head. Walden's Landscapes, I realize. Kind of like the look of that trailer. It's just a box trailer with like deckling, but and we've hit the next yellow. So we're gonna stop. No. So that looks like the load that I was wanting to take originally, but I accidentally slept in. Yeah, I muted myself for a second. My wife just came home from the dentist. So her face is still frozen, but I had to ask her how it went. It went fine. I've never been in Portland. Portland is one of those places where I've almost gone to Portland several times, but I've never actually ended up going to Portland. Actually. How detailed it is? Because Portland seems like it's one of those where it's you kind of you drive over Portland. You never really drive into any part of Portland. Okay, so we're gonna go this way. Guess we'll go all the way over right. I wanted. Yeah, Portland is this landscape you go by. You don't really you just kind of go through the freeway in Portland. There's not much to go into any of the side streets or any of that. Well, and that's the thing of kids that are raised in an area where there's always a bunch of different languages. The idea that, oh, you can't understand so-and-so because they're speaking a different language is something they'll learn really early. And so it's not a hard thing to deal with. But in America, just everyone speaks English. So that's the only option. And I need to be in the left lane, so we're just kind of cutting across 3 lanes at once. All right. Oh, where does that gondola go? Just a gondola going across part of the city. That's interesting. I didn't actually know that Portland had a gondola, so it's kind of news to me. I'm gonna go back to the right lane because that's where we like to live as a truck. Oh, there's a cop pulled someone over. I think I think Las Vegas has this idea where the freeway just kind of like ends and you're then like downtown Las Vegas. It might be a different city, but it's one of those where it was a bit startling. Where it was like, I thought I was on the freeway. Did I make a wrong turn? It's like, no, that's just what the freeway does. But that's where I'm very grateful for modern GPSs. Let's turn to the left lane, or I guess the central lane, which becomes the right lane. Modern GPSs where I don't need to memorize where I'm going. I don't need to think about maps. It's just you toss in the GPS and more or less follow the route. Sometimes you need to think for the GPS because the GPS is telling you to do something that's not the best course of action. But for the most part, it's nice to have a GPS where you can just go, oh, and also if you miss a turn, the GPS can figure it out for you and go. And it's a handy thing to have. All right, car. Oh, we've got a detour. All right. Well, at least this one shouldn't be a terrible one because we should just be able to. Like this will be a very minor detour. I'm okay with this. That was a bit of a, yeah, that was a close stop, man. Did not mean to leave it up to that last moment of a bit. Oh, you're just moving forward because you were uncomfortable with me being that close to you? That is fair, car. That is fair. I've been in your shoes. I would have been puckering a little bit on that. I didn't hit them though. That's what really counts. Yeah, I imagine all of the southern states have like massive Spanish-speaking populations. Locally, we don't have we don't share a border with a country that speaks another language, so we don't have that up here in Canada. We do have French is the second language, like the official second language of Canada. So there's a lot of people who speak French, but unless you're out near Quebec, it's not really a actually common thing for people to only be able to speak French. So it's what we have is basically immigrants that are coming from Asia. So we have populations that only speak Chinese or only speak Punjabi or whatever Indian language that they spoke back in sort of India, or because there's multiple languages from that area, but basically East Indian populations that move here. So yeah, you get entire suburbs where there are stores that are not in English, they are just in that language. But it's a little bit different where we don't have that, like we have it with Chinese and Indians and all that, but we do not have it with a single population that actually is close to their home country. Like these are all people who have gone across the ocean. They've moved away from their home country by quite some distance. They can't go back and visit family by hopping in a truck and driving across the border. They need to take a boat or a flight to be able to get back home to the country they came from. But we still do have it where people come and they don't speak English because it's not a requirement to be a Canadian for you to be able to speak English. You do have to take your testing in English or French. It's the only, so like the citizenship testing, but you can have a translator for it. And I for the most part don't mind that. The thing is, I think basically we should always be careful who we let into a country. We don't want to let criminals and predators into the country, but I don't mind if we let people into the country that don't speak the language. It's always going to be a bit more challenging for them because they'll need to get translators for so many things, but I personally don't see it as a problem. I don't get offended when someone doesn't speak English. I mean, when I when I first got to Canada, I didn't speak English. I was also like really, really young, but the overall point, the sentiment still stands. Turn on my high beams right as the car comes around the corner. High beams are not worth it. It was even a cop car. High beams mostly aren't worth it because it's a bit of a pain to turn them off whenever a car is oncoming, because I don't have it on my controller. I mean, you don't have to speak English to go to Canada. You just need to have some way to be able to translate into English or French to go to Canada. If you can't speak English or French passably, getting into the country is going to be significantly more difficult. But people do it all the time. This is another spot where I would love to have a wheel with buttons, so I could just not have to reach over to my keyboard in order to turn on and off my high beams. What our uphill is, but it must be decent because we can't maintain speed. We are just dropping speed here. It's just having to drop gears until we'll be able to maintain speed somewhere. Because the slower we go, the more we can basically torque multiply and actually keep going. But you know, 9th seems to be holding here. I don't think we need to downshift again. No, maybe we do. We'll go down to 8th. There, we've leveled out and we're starting to gain our speed back. Might be for the best because I've got the cruise currently set to 16 miles per hour, and the road seems to be a little bit curvy for 16 miles per hour. That should also be a rest area, but I guess it's not. enough away, so we got to be getting close to our destination. I saw signs for Medford, but I honestly haven't been. I wasn't really paying attention to corners, and let's take a look at where we're going. Okay, so we're headed south. So yeah, we didn't go to. So the signs for Medford were this route to Medford. I feel like I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, but yeah, we're headed to Klamath Falls, which we could have totally gone over to Medford and over. Would not have been significantly longer. So Medford, Oregon, that is a place that the company that I prefer to order my swords through actually is in Medford, Oregon. So when I do fencing, my preferred swords all come out of Medford, Oregon. They're all made in the U.S. And up till very recently, they were the best budget option as well. They made incredibly good budget weapons where basically quality for dollar, they were the best deal. Their prices have gone up quite a bit. The prices have gone up by about 50% recently. And they are still great. I will still buy basically everything for tournaments where I want it to be really good, high quality. I will absolutely still get from them. But I have, when I need like 6 of a type of sword, I'm not ordering it through them anymore just because they're not the most cost-effective option for that anymore. They used to be, but they're still absolutely one of the best for quality. So it's one of those where I'm sad that they're charging more, but they were worth the increased price originally. So they're still very much worth it. I'm actually contemplating putting an order with them in the coming months here, but we will see. That was a massive slowdown. Ooh. I thought for sure I was going to hit him. I feel like that just kind of came out of nowhere. I did not see the situation where that was going to be a problem. So we're gonna have to pull in the scale or not? Do we get lucky or not? Place your bets. And we have to go in. Not overly surprising. We had a lucky streak yesterday, but in general I expect to have to stop in a scale. Gross vehicle weight to 77,000 pounds. Okay, so I have to turn on the road and then immediately make a right-hand turn. This seems like an interesting. This must be, yeah, I've got the exit right there. So we pull it into that. Okay. This is one of those kind of annoying situations where I think the road is clear. Basically, go and kind of go a little bit wide so that I can get all of this around. That basically turns that into a bit of a sharp turn. So we've discovered Klamath Falls. We'll be delivering this piece of equipment, and then we'll probably take a load out of here. And if we find a good load, we might actually finally get out of Oregon and Washington. Because if the best paying load by quite a large chunk is Oregon, Washington, then Oregon, Washington, I will stay. But if I can find a good paying load that goes to another state, preferably not California, but we'll take California if we have to, then that's what we'll be doing. Now, because of the way this game handles B trains, this Super B should just go straight into, basically it should just be a pull forward and drop the trailer sort of situation. I'm still simultaneously glad that they don't ask me to back up a Super B. That is not a skill I possess. I feel like they're almost asking me to back this up because this is... Well, if they need me to back... Okay, no, they don't need me to back it up. That's good enough. You know, I'm going to do the dumb thing. I'm going to park that better. Or I'm going to try to, anyway. There. Perfect. I think Jess will be on tonight. I'm not actually sure. I have not double checked with her. But I think she will be continuing, probably playing Farm Simulator, but I'm not actually sure. I honestly feel like the fuel economy one is not worth getting. I think we'll go here instead for now. All right, let's see where we are going to find jobs that take us. So we have that job is also overweight for what I want to be hauling. We have a job that takes us back to Washington up to Olympia. We've got a job that pays all right. That would take us to Eureka, California. That's the only option that doesn't keep us in Oregon or bring us back to Washington. Now the house prefabs. Because if I can find, if that's a configurable load, it doesn't matter. I will need to take a break. Like I need to take a nap and fill up fuel anyway. That's definitely I was in reverse when I kind of needed to not be. All right, let's get out of here. Now I'm just wondering, can I just exit this way? Yes, I can. Okay, I know which way they want me to go here, but I'm actually going to go the other way just because I haven't driven those roads. I have very briefly worked in a factory. I haven't really spent a lot of time working in a factory. I actually know more about factory work from working as an equipment mechanic who has to go to different factories to fix their equipment and do like maintenance, all that stuff, than I do from the brief time that I spent actually working in a factory. So now most of my time spent in a factory is fixing some piece of equipment in the factory. Some piece of equipment that's not like most factory equipment. Like factories will always have like machinists or whatever job they want to call them, but people who like set up and maintain the actual factory equipment. And I don't do that. I don't maintain factory equipment. I sort of maintain the stuff like forklifts and pallet jacks and that sort of stuff, which they often don't have. Yeah, depending on the factory and depending on your job within the factory, factory work can be a very intense thing, and it can be a very demanding thing. Oh, light went green. I wasn't even paying attention to it. So that's one thing I've really enjoyed is the fact that I haven't been working nearly as intensely as I used to. Is I have energy right now, and man, is it nice. It's nice to have energy to do things after basically in the evening. But that is a thing of when working as a mechanic, that's not the way things normally are. Normally, it is work, 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 work. It is, especially when I was flat rate, where the more work I did, the more I got paid. So it was a very intense, busy schedule. And so there for a while, my evening ritual was basically get home from work, and just basically fall asleep. Like I'd basically like sit in front of the TV, start playing some video games, and fall asleep while playing video games. Like I'd be playing a racing game and wake up to my car just like crashed somewhere in a wall because I was just that tired. Couldn't stay awake. Because it's one of those things where those jobs, they just physically leave you with not enough energy to do anything else in your day. Oh, I am not. I'm like going against traffic in their own lane there. Wait, I meant to sleep there. Let's loop back around and get that sleep that I was planning on doing. I fueled up. I did not remember to sleep. It's kind of the important part of this, actually. All right, let's just pull into this. Yeah, I don't know how his day has gone today. I know yesterday he was kind of stuck between things. All right, we've paid more loan installments, but also we've paid all of our things and we can make another loan repayment. We now only owe $30,000 on this truck that we bought for 100 and I think about 115,000. So I feel like that's a that's a good place to be at. We're making progress. We're paying this off quick. Oh, we now have a job to Elko, Nevada, which is within a weight that I'm happy with. We're not going to go to Newport, Oregon, and we're not going to go to Eugene, and we're not going to go back up into Washington. Those are all neat places to go, but we have the option for, and it's the best sort of bang for the buck situation because the house prefabs are too heavy. So this is our best cost deal. So to Nevada, we're going to go to Elko. I mean, I would definitely never describe any, like, some factories are probably absolutely terrible to work at, but factory work is, I'm going places I shouldn't be going, but we're going here now. All right. Factory work is absolutely tough, and it does take a toll on your body. Um, the my big thing would be, don't basically, like, some people will just work at a factory and they will work at that one factory their entire lives. And if you've got a factory that takes care of you and all that stuff, then go for it. Like, work for the factory, but basically try to take what you can learn at the factory and move with it. Turn it into what can you do with this that makes you valuable somewhere else, so that you always have options. Because that day, if you ever find that point where you just go, this factory work isn't working out anymore, you can take that and either go to a different factory, or even take it to a new field, do something different. Because that's definitely one thing where I am quite heavily considering going into the change up what I'm doing. I won't make as much money doing a different job as I would being a mechanic right now, but I would certainly enjoy it. Doing the same thing forever, it gets hard in its own way. I mean, it's easy to criticize factory work when you literally don't know what factory work is like. Uh, I've I've talked to people that basically they're basically in fast food jobs is what they really are, and they think they're on some like career path of being like professional cook and all that, and it's like not really. And they'll talk shit about the factory workers, and they well, the factory workers they got unions, they've got mandated breaks. Like, there's no one ever trying to pressure them into not taking their breaks. And like their days are lower stress than yours. Physically harder, yes, but lower stress. And it's like, well, that seems like a win to me. I guess that's a 32,000 pound trailer. If we turn it that way. If we go sliding double tarp, 44,000 pounds. So I actually like that deal. I think we'll go with the sliding tarp double. That'll pay us just shy of 19,000, and it's going to be let's see, it's about a 9-hour drive, 450 miles. We'll take that job. But I'm going to quickly, that's going to take a bit. I'm going to get myself another drink. I will be right back. All right, I am back. All right, let's hook up our trailer. Okay, that's the trailer right there. I'm like, I don't know where that trailer is, but I'm pulling into this in an abysmal way. But it's such a short wheelbase, I can just do this. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh, this is going to be a very terrible hookup, but theoretically you can hook up at an angle. Not a way I would have recommended to hook up, but it works. Yeah, so my thing that I will look at a fact like there's sometimes where I will go to like a factory or a fabrication shop or one of the places, and I'll look at the people who are working there, and then usually I feel like I can make a judgment on whether this is the sort of place where it'd be good to work at or not. And it basically comes down to is, are there people who've worked there for a significant number of years? Like obviously if a factory's been open for like 5 years, you can't have people who worked at that factory for 10 years. But if you've got like no one's worked there for longer than 3 years, and it's been open for like say 15 years, that starts to kind of make you go, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. And also, are the people who have worked there for a long time sort of the grumpy, will never look for better opportunities sort of people? Because if that's the case, then this is probably not actually a good place to be. It's not a place you'd want to go. But if you are in a situation where you look at it and go, no, the people who work here have been working for a long time and they enjoy it, they're good at their jobs, and they basically could go other places, and they know they could go other places and aren't, then honestly, usually it's a good place to be. It is a place where the people are being treated well and they enjoy their jobs. Yeah. Because that was when the shop that I went through my apprenticeship at. When I started there, I was basically there for 10 years, and there was two other techs who started pretty much they were journeymen, but they moved from a larger city. They moved to Penticton, or to the area, and they basically started about the same time as me, with obviously a lot more experience. And the entire time I worked there, they worked there. And the other three techs had all been there for longer than me. The one had been there for 12 years. The one had already been there for about 15 years, which was about how long the dealership had been open when I started there. And they were all there during the time that I worked at that dealership. They were all there, but things were changing, and I saw it, and I went, you know what? There's no reason for me to stay here, so I moved on. I went to another place, and within 2 years of me leaving, there's only one of those techs who had been there for a long time who is still there. And honestly, he is part of the reason everyone else left. So that's one of those things where you look at it and like, now basically outside of one tech, and that's a tech that can't leave because he's invincible here, and he's not worth much anywhere else. Am I stuck on that uphill? I don't think I have enough power to pull this train from a dead stop. I didn't think I was on enough of a hill for this to be a problem, but... Okay. I don't know what it was there. We are breaking the law because I don't want to stop there again, because I got stuck on that. It doesn't make sense for me to have been stuck there. First gear, I should have been, even if it was a crawl to get out of there, it should have been possible to drive off of that. Because I actually just backed up a little bit, and then I could do it. And the angle change wasn't... I didn't see a change in angle for it. We're just going to keep rolling on this one. Yeah. Well, you know, and for some people, factory work is not for them. It's not a thing that they're ever going to enjoy, they're ever going to be happy with. And if that's the case, good for them. Move on, do something different. But yeah, I've definitely, so I had an experience recently where somebody was basically just telling me that, oh, they would have loved to basically be something like a mechanic because it was so easy and all that stuff, but it was just too hard on the body, and not enough money. And I can't necessarily disagree with it. It is hard on the body, and while I think mechanics get paid quite well, they're for how hard you're on your body, it is not necessarily the best pay. But they basically were just going on about how being a mechanic destroyed your body in exchange for mentally easy work. And first off, you have no idea what a mechanic does if you think being a mechanic is mentally easy work. But yeah, so he basically picked a desk job. So he spent all of his career basically sitting at a table in front of a computer or in front of paperwork because, it's so much easier on the body. Yeah, he's had several operations to his elbow because of the desk work, and he's got lower back issues because he basically sat in a chair all day. And he's got, I think, kidney issues. It might have been liver issues, but I think it was kidney issues. And that's basically from just sitting day in, day out, basically doing overtime hours sitting in a chair. And I'm like, you're sitting there, I'm like, you're basically disabled from having done office work your entire life. You basically had a very different physically hard job, but it was still a physically hard job. Like, it wasn't hard as in it took energy and muscle to do. It's not long hours of standing. It's not long hours of moving equipment or like not equipment, but like moving product around. It was long hours of sitting, and it destroyed him. And I'm like, you know what? Every job is hard on your body when you do that much of it. So it's a case of trying to find something that's a balance. Like, during my free time, I love sitting down and playing video games, and that's fine. But if I had a desk job and then went home and played video games, that'd be a bad combination. That's all I'd be doing is sitting. So many people like go home from a desk job and they sit in front of a TV and they watch TV for basically their entire afternoon. And it's like, that is its very own physically hard on the body. But yeah, people are very quick to criticize other jobs when they don't know anything about how that job works. I'm sure I've done the same thing in the past, but it's the more I pay attention and notice, I go, wait a minute. Everyone's like, oh, this sort of work is too physically hard. And it's like, but other jobs that pay less are just as physically hard on your body. So it comes down to is, as long as what you do is something that you enjoy enough that you go, yeah, that's worth doing this for the money, it's probably not the wrong option. That's like one of the things of like women who get into like modeling are often accused of basically selling their bodies, and to just sit there with people like accusing them selling their bodies, when it's like, yeah, we've got like people working in like the steel industries who are in such physically demanding jobs that they'll basically destroy their body over a 30-year career. Like they can't do any other sort of work after that, and we don't count that as selling your body. You're literally selling your time while destroying it, while destroying your body, and yet we find that's the okay version of it. And there's nothing wrong with working in like a steel mill or any of those hard jobs, but it is a case of it's a form of you're getting paid to do damage to your body. I mean, my brother certainly facilitates trade between Canada and the US, and if trade between Canada and the US suddenly couldn't happen, first off, Canada would that be a big change for Canada. It'd be a hard hit. It'd take a lot of change of how everything happens in Canada for that to work out. The U.S. would also take a heavy hit. Canada is not necessarily their biggest trade partner, but their best trade partner. Like you get a lot of like a really big chunk of US's trade is with China, but the trade that the US gets from Canada is better for the US. Because it's better for Canada to sell to the US because US is right there than it is to try to sell anywhere else. So Canada gives the US a better deal, while China has a lot of neighbors to sell to. So the trade deal is not as good for the US dealing with China. Plus stuff like Canada just honestly has some of the best lumber in the world, so selling stuff like that is just, for quality, it's hard to beat. Okay, those cars, the routes they just took made no sense to me, but we're just going to ignore that because they turned left when they could have just, wherever they were headed, they could have just turned right and that would have been, or so they could have gone straight and then turned left. Yeah, and Mexico is also a good trade partner, but if this, I could be wrong here, but if I remember correctly, the basically the free trade in North America, which includes both U.S. Or I guess includes U.S., Canada, and Mexico, is basically the U.S. U.S. economy benefits more from its trade with Canada than its trade with Mexico. Meanwhile, both, like Mexico and Canada, benefit significantly more from their trade with the U.S. than each other, but there is some trade with each other, but that's a large part of because anything they trade with each other has to go through the U.S. anyway. So it just tags a lot of shipping onto everything. But I'd really have to look more into that to be able to make actually educated statements about it. But basically the free trade agreement for North America is, while not a perfect setup, it is actually a pretty decent setup. The thing that gets me about basically buying food from a more Mexican type market, so either buying food down in Central America, in Mexico or nearby countries, or in southern states where you get Mexican food a lot more, is how basically chili peppers go on everything. You got like just you can basically buy a spicy version of just about anything. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are eating like spicy chocolate, or at least have the option of spicy chocolate, which drives me nuts. I don't want my chocolate to be spicy. Like spicy chips are actually really good, but there's some things where I'm like, why is there spice in this? Why can I get like habanero like crackers? This is just weird to me. I mean, that is definitely my thought on it. not a thing I would ever want to have or basically be dealing with. But everyone's got their own. Everyone's got what they like. Snow zone. It certainly doesn't look like a snow zone currently. But like I said earlier, I think the game is basically just stuck in permanent summer. And I'm kind of grateful for that. Dealing with snow with Big Rig would be such a pain in the butt. Have to like stop and chain up and all of that, I'm sure would be tedious. I feel like I've really been getting my shifts wrong for the last little bit. Shifting down too much. Or up too much. I'm basically skipping too many gears or not enough. I'm off my beat. So nice. I like this road. It's kind of pretty. You've got the valley basically dropping away from you on the right. Some motorcycles pulled over and people chatting. Definitely done that a lot over the summer. You know, once you're out for a few hours of riding, you just kind of want to sort of stop just for a moment and be on your feet, be out of the saddle for a little bit. Speed limit is 65, but I don't think we're going to manage to do that here, not unless we get a bit of a downhill. 65 is really kind of the max that we can do with this truck. Although soon we'll be able to look at buying a new truck. I'm looking forward to that. Probably won't be this game because this will be the last run I'm doing right now. And we've almost paid off this truck, but I think early next stream I'll probably be able to buy another truck. And what I'll probably do is buy another truck and then I will hire a driver to put in this one. So this truck will just keep slowly making me money. Because I could trade this in for a better truck, but I think the better deal long term is to get additional drivers. My goal is going to be to get into a sleeper cab and also get my drivers into all sleeper cabs as well. But short term, we'll just put him, get a new driver, put him in day cab. I don't think the computer, like when you have an AI driver, I don't think they actually care. Like I could put them all in day cabs and they'd probably make just as much money as they do with a sleeper cab. And I wish the game would change that. Like if you put them in a truck that's worth twice as much, they should have an increase of productivity, even if it's not twice as productive. But I don't know. I know in BC, in that case, I would not, like, that'd be a big no-no what I just did. Just blow past the cop like that. We have to slow down to 70 kilometers an hour if there's an emergency vehicle on the side of the road. You can't just go blasting past them. I was blowing past a cop at like 70 miles per hour, which is close to what I was doing. I was doing at least over 60. I think maybe I was doing like 65. But either way, we were rolling pretty quick there. And he's turning. I don't feel like I'd feel comfortable being a cop on the side of the road like that. The narrow road, people doing 70. Blowing past me when... Cause that's how you get the videos of basically people losing control and hitting cop cars parked on the side of the road. And it's like... Sometimes the cops don't... Basically, sometimes the cops get hit and they don't make it. And other times the cops get lucky and don't get hit. Or get away with minor injuries. But just it's a risky part of the job. Set my cruise to 70, but I just don't think we're ever going to make it to there. Two of these valleys with like the rocks up along the side. I've always found this to be a beautiful deal. Like I like driving through this sort of landscape. Which is part of why I like living where I do, because motorcycle rides, you ride through this sort of area. A little less deserty, most over here, a little less, basically we've got more trees, but still the overall feel. Like I've driven down a valley that looks very similar to this here in BC. Pretty sure Juan's probably posted a video of us riding down it at some point. There was a bit of good Mexican overdrive, just cruising down the hill. We actually made our 70. I'm sure we're going to be dropping down. Maybe we'll get down to about 60 coming up this hill. $63, $62, $1, $60, $59. Yeah. Still dropping. $52. 51, 50, definitely went below 60. In fact, we're going to downshift to 9th gear. We've stopped losing our speed. We've holding it at 46 and slowly starting to build her up again. But yeah, 70 is just kind of gotta have a downhill for us to be able to make 70 even on level ground. It's just not. This truck just doesn't have the power to break the wind at that point. This bus doesn't seem to have an interest in doing speed limit, so I guess we're stuck behind it. Because even if we had a passing lane, there's no way we're making it past the bus. Yeah, I think on like just going back to Spicy Chocolate for a moment, I think I've actually seen it was like habanero Kit Kat, and it was just, I looked at it and was like, who wants this? Why is this even a thing made? But someone's got to enjoy it. Someone's got to buy it. So in the background, my wife's saying that she would buy it. So yeah, it's like I said, someone enjoys it. someone would be totally down. I personally just find the idea of mixing spicy with, oh, how much do we have to slow down? Yeah, this sort of area right here is honestly when I think of desert, this is usually where my mind goes first. I think for a lot of people, they think of deserts like the Sahara or any of those deserts where it's like really, it's very sandy. You got the sand dunes. But for me, it's this sort of like brushy area where there's not a lot of trees and everything's just very dry. Like no, or not, I wouldn't say no grasses, but less in the way of grasses. More just like the sage and the shrub or scrub. Winnemucca. There's no way I pronounced that correctly. Just knowing what I do know about pronunciation, so I get them wrong normally, and that's one that I definitely have to guess a lot at what it could even be possibly saying. Might not be able to hit my gears, but at least I'm not running over things on the side of the road with the trailer currently, so we'll take that. That's not gonna look that gift horse in the mouth. Alright, I'm gonna wait for that car. I feel like we could have very easily made it before that car, but... Are you... Alright, you know, this honestly is kind of realistic. People do this, where they're like, I'm gonna wait for... Like, I had right away, but I'm gonna let the other vehicle go. It's a giant pain in the butt. I wish people did not do that. People do it in real life, so I guess it's... I can't complain about them doing it in game. Well, speed limit here is 80. I think we can all safely say that that's just not going to happen. 70 was a struggle. 90 miles to Elko. our GPS says that's an hour and a half away. If we could speed as much as I'd like, which would be, I'd like to do 90 in this section, we could make it in an hour. But there's just no way we're making that. Just not a chance. Still doing like 45. Okay, there, now we've hit a nice flat section. We're actually getting some speed now. Yeah, we're doing 20 miles per hour under the speed limit. We're just doing our best. Plugging along. $60 miles left to go. Oh, we're up over 70. Keeping on pushing it. Oh, we've hit 80. We just keep the pedal down. 86. We are not making it past that. That's actually, I'm pretty sure, the red line on our truck. We've pegged this motor out. 86 is the fastest we're gonna go, and there's nothing we can do about it. I'm just gonna keep the pedal down. We'll keep the speed for as long as we can. Miles out, so we've got to be looking for our exit soon. Explore Texas. So I kind of appreciate that. They have signs advertising other states, which you see in real life. They can use that to basically sort of subtly advertise their own DLC. Because Texas is out now. I could go buy Texas and explore Texas. That's not a thing I'm going to do quite yet. Mostly because I'd be paying full price for Texas, and I do prefer to not pay full price for any of the DLC if I can help it. Alright, count that as a stop. It was absolutely not a stop, but we're going to count it as one. Because that's an uphill. I don't want to completely stop there in case I get stuck again. rest stop and fuel close by. That'll be excellent because I'll want to do both. Oh, though that's going to be an easy one. Literally just drive in a little bit and drop it right here. Can probably handle that. All right. So we made just shy of $19,000 on that. And we'll just, actually, let's go to the bank. We've got, well, yeah, let's repay 2 of these. So we're going to be, we still owe $9,284. So it'll be like our very first mission next game, I'll be almost guaranteed to pay off our remaining debt, and then we will immediately turn around and go make more debt. But we'll make debt expanding, get our company moving, so our company is not just me as an owner operator, but actually have other drivers as well. Now I would love, because they've made multiplayer a thing. What I would love is that you could actually get other people to work for your trucking company rather than just doing their own thing. But it is what it is. For a game that did not originally have multiplayer, I'm just happy that they got it working at all. But okay, let's just gonna fill up on fuel, go to the rest stop, and then we are gonna call it a day there. We've got $2,000 cash to cover. Yeah, okay. I kind of just barreled up to the road. Did not mean to actually do that, but no one hit me. Will count it as a victory. Okay. We'll get over here to just stop in a diner parking lot. Oh, I guess no, it's a designated rest area right over here. Okay. Get some rest, wake up early in the morning, and we're ready to go. So save the game, and this is where I'm going to pick up, and I'll be back again to do this tomorrow. Okay, so quitting out of the game. For everyone who tuned in, thank you for tuning in, and hope you have an excellent evening or a good night or a good morning if that's what it is where you are. But thanks for hanging out. We'll see you later.